John Bentley.
What's up, CFO gang? It's your boy Jay Tuck back with another Cowboys fans only episode. So you guys know the drill, right? Go ahead, comment, like, subscribe. Somewhere down there, somewhere down there, somewhere down there. And Cowboys fam, I gotta say something real quick, man. I'm kind of sad. Like, Tuck, why are you sad? Man, the Cowboys just ended the Eagles season. Why are you sad? And because, normally when I do these shows and I come onto my channel, before I even get started, y'all, I have a lot of Eagles fans, birds all in the chat, fly, Eagles fly, all sorts of mess going on in my chat, and I don't see any of that. Y'all hear that? Nothing. It's silence. It is silent. It is silent right now. And why is that? Because the Dallas Cowboys have ended, yes, we have ended the Eagles season. So I'm still ecstatic, y'all. I'm still ecstatic. So all Philly Notion, shouts out to my guy Philly Notion, though, because he was one of the people, all those Eagles content creators, they didn't want to bring me on their show, but Philly Notion still brought me on. He took it like a man. He stood in front of it, and he took the trolling, but we're here. But I got a real special guest to coming on our show right now, man. This guy is one of my favorite people to follow on Twitter. You actually got to follow him. He's actually a Kansas Cityan like me, who's just a Cowboys fan stuck in Kansas City like myself. So with further ado, CFO gang, I want to bring to the channel my guy, Nick Herrera. What's going on, Nick?
Hey, how's it going, man? Happy to be on the show.
Yeah, appreciate you. Like I said, guys, definitely follow him on Twitter. The thing I like about Nick, man, and I'm going to be honest with you, Nick, you remind me of me, right? You don't take no crap from nobody, man. You be giving the smoke, man, and it is what it is, but you bring knowledge. You bring smoke and you bring knowledge, man. So Nick is one of my favorite guys. Like I said, he resides here in Kansas City in Chiefs territory, and it's not easy being a Cowboys fan in Chiefs territory.
Not
man.
easy.
So let me ask you this first and foremost. This is the first question I ask a lot of guests when they come on the show.
Okay.
How did you end up being a Dallas Cowboys fan?
I was kind of born into it, so I didn't really have a choice. My dad was a Cowboys fan.
Okay.
My grandpa was a Cowboys fan, and they both made damn sure that me and my brother were going to be Cowboys fans. So I had a star on my chest since the moment I was born. So
right.
Yeah.
They raised them right.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like I had no choice, man. It's all I'd known, and it's all I would ever know. So let me ask you this. I'm gonna put you on the spot. You got to pick one Dallas Cowboys player as your all-time favorite. One. That's it. Can't give me an and in this. One guy.
Ooh.
Go.
I have a soft spot for Dez Bryant. He's always been my guy. I know that's a newer player. I know we haven't had a lot of success as an organization when he was on the team, but
right.
He was one of those players that caught my eye once I really started getting into kind of the more organizational structure part of the game.
Right.
And so I loved watching him from draft till, unfortunately, he was released from the Cowboys. So
yeah.
He's kind of one of those guys that really got me into the game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge Dez fan, man. As you can see clearly by the shirt, man. I love Dez. I love 88, man. That's my guy. Because I feel like when it comes to Dez Bryant, when you think about the Dallas Cowboys, like what you want them to be, is everything that Dez Bryant represents. There's always that passion, that fire. And like, man, even sitting back watching him succeed at the Ravens in Baltimore, man, I'm just like, I'm happy for him. Now, I'll never put on a Dez Bryant Ravens jersey, y'all. I just can't do that. But I'm very happy for him until if they ever run to the Cowboys, then it is what it is. But let's get into it. So this past Sunday, Cowboys, Eagles. The Cowboys beat the brakes off. It wasn't a close game because I thought it was going to be a closer game than what expected, and there was a lot of opportunities for it to be a lot closer than what it was. But the Cowboys fully dominated that game. And what I'll say, y'all, the thing that made me most proud about this team is when things looked like they were about to get ugly, they gathered themselves. They refocused. We all saw the clip of Sean Lee, getting the momentum with the defense, and it felt like they settled in and they did not give up. So, Nick, how are you feeling after seeing Sunday's game?
I liked what I saw. There's certain things that over the course of the last few weeks that I find encouraging.
Right.
You kind of hit the nail on the head as far as right when you think the brakes are about to fall off, they do something that kind of gets them back in the game. And I don't think that's something that we've seen in years past. We haven't seen those small adjustments in scheme throughout the game that can really change how that defense is playing or how the offense is executing. And we're starting to see it. I still think we have personnel issues. I think we still have coordinator issues, which I think we're all very aware of. But I think them being able to make small tweaks by bringing in, say, for example, CJ Goodwin to spy Jalen Hurts,
right,
wreaked havoc on him.
Right.
And those are little things that we weren't doing in years past. So
right.
I feel encouraged.
So let me ask you this, because we all saw and I agree, man, that was one of the critical adjustments that was made that I think a lot of casual fans didn't see by putting CJ Goodwin in and having him spy Jalen Hurts. So why do you think it took all the way to week 16 for Mike Nolan and staff to decide, you know what, maybe Jalen Smith isn't the proper guy to put out there to cover these fast, shiftier quarterbacks? I mean, because we have struggled with Kyler Murray and even Baker Mayfield and all the mobile type quarterbacks we struggle with. Why do you think it took till week 16 for us to finally make that adjustment?
Yeah, I think part of it is we forget that these guys are humans. These that are on the field, they aren't isn't Madden where you have a rating, you go out and can play.
Right.
These guys need to learn these new schemes. We still see mistakes on very simple coverages. So to be able to throw in a wrench like they did is not necessarily easy when you're trying to establish even just the simple things still.
Right.
So I think we've been able to add little things, add little wrinkles to our defense each week, and we're starting to see the benefits of it since, say, probably the Steelers game. So little things like that, and the longer you have an established system in place, the more confident you are to be able to call those things.
Right.
So.
I think it's all about buying in. And I think what you're seeing with this team is overall, they're starting to buy in. I think originally offense, that wasn't the issue, but the defense they struggled with buying in. And you saw a lot of guys out there 100%. Playing hero ball. I mean, the biggest knock has been Jalen Smith this entire season. I felt like Jalen Smith was playing hero ball, but the one difference that we had on Sunday was Sean Lee. Sean Lee's not playing no hero ball. He's playing his pure assignment, and he's pretty much the quarterback out there. So I think that really helps. And then also what a lot of people have to understand is we're seeing our secondary finally get healthy and seeing all these guys play together. I think pretty much their second game, and you're seeing the emergence of Donovan Wilson and these type of players. It starts to give you some type of spark, because I kept saying this all season, y'all. Even though he's not Jalen Ramsey and, Gilmore or whatnot, at least having Cheeto out there gives me some type of more confidence than what we were putting out there. So having Cheeto back, having Jordan Lewis healthy, having Anthony Brown out there, and having Diggs back, I think that helped with our secondary tremendously. Now, up front in the interior, that's still a huge question mark. I mean, especially with Antoine Woods is out. But I will say this about our defensive line. They did make plays when it was time to make a play. And sometimes it's all you have to ask for. So going back to that Cincinnati game, y'all, like I was saying, I saw the defense starting to fly around. And when you start
I think I'm losing you here.
Can you hear me? Are we good? We're good. Did you lose me? You lost me? Check. Did you lose me? Can you guys still hear me out there? Let's see. We good?
You there? Sorry, I'm not sure what happened.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay, cool.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. No problem, man. It's technical issues, man. It always happens. Man.
But I did want to touch on something that you were saying. About the cornerback depth.
Okay.
I think it's only the second game we've been able to have our CB1, CB2, and CB3 out there, and that shows. Although they're not elite talents, like you said, not with the Jalen Ramsey.
Right.
But they're better than having a Worley out there or a Savion Smith or any of those other guys that had to fill in.
Right.
Even having Lewis out there, he can provide a role if he doesn't have to be your number 2 corner, guarding a guy who's 6'3", that type of thing. So having those guys has been, super helpful.
Yeah, exactly. So they're saying you're a little bit low now on your end with the microphone.
So see if I can do something.
Okay, cool. But yeah, guys, like I was saying, having those guys back, like I said, going back to that Cincinnati game, right? We saw this team flying around. We saw them playing with some fortitude, some excitement, some tenacity, and that's when the turnover started to happen. And I feel like they're starting to build that momentum off of that game. So what we're seeing these last 3 weeks, I think it really started in that Cincinnati game. So kudos to the defense. Like, now, am I going to come out and say the defense is, top 10, top 15? Absolutely not. We still had issues. I mean, the Deshaun Jackson touchdown really just made me sick to my stomach. Like, I was fired up after seeing that, because y'all know how I feel about Deshaun Jackson. But I feel like if you're able to create turnovers and just get off the field sometimes, that's more than enough, and especially with this offense. Now, let's transition to the offensive side of the ball, right? Okay. Andy Dalton has been playing, becoming clear. Andy Dalton has been playing solid. So what do you think is a testament to Andy Dalton and kind of his production the past 3 weeks we've saw? Because he's kind of trajecting in the upward since we saw, versus Washington and whatnot.
I tweeted something about this. I think it might have been yesterday, but Andy Dalton's playing some of his best football he's played in years.
Right.
He's doing well. And I think, one, he's having a little bit more confidence in the offensive line. They've stepped up for the past 3 or 4 weeks. Even with them primarily having backups, they've played well. He has good targets, so that definitely helps his job.
Right.
He's also making a lot better decisions. The first couple of starts he had, he was not seeing the field well. He was pulling the trigger when there's a guy that's clearly not open. And he just looks 10 times more comfortable.
Right.
He still takes some untimely sacks, holds the ball a little too long. but that's something I can live with a backup quarterback because I know that's what he is. You know,
Right, exactly. So my guy Mendoza, shouts out to my guy Mendoza, says, "What do we do if Andy pulls a Nick Foles? Then we all go out and buy Andy Dalton jersey." It's like, here's one of these things. I'm not one of these Cowboys fans. It's like, well, Dak's not playing, I don't want to win the Super Bowl. Damn that. If Ben DiNucci was leading us to the Super Bowl and we were making a run, I'm the biggest Nucci man fan on the planet. So it's really not about the player, it's about the team when it comes to me. I'm sure you're the same way, Nick. I want to win. I don't give a damn who's behind the center.
Yep. If Andy Dalton pulls a Foles, we can build the biggest statue of Andy Dalton in front of that stadium that we can. But the thing is, I've still seen a pretty large sample size of Dak playing at a high level.
Right.
And he's younger. It's not like a Wentz thing where he really only played well for about 12 games, 10 games.
Right.
So I don't have those question marks. And I don't know. I don't see that being an issue. I think Dak's a very good leader of men, probably a great leader of men. So I don't think there's ever going to be a possibility where half the locker room is supporting Dalton while the other half is supporting Dak. I don't think you'll ever have that issue. So I think it's completely different.
Andy Dalton, y'all, is doing exactly what we brought Andy Dalton in to do, which is to be a backup quarterback. And in case something was to happen with Dak Prescott, he's holding up the fort. That's basically what he's doing. So I know you're going to see a lot of low-hanging fruit in Twitter because Twitter is Twitter. No, Andy Dalton is not going to take Dak's job. We're not going to not sign Dak and trade him and roll out with Andy Dalton. Cut it out. What Andy Dalton is doing is what he is brought in to do, which is kind of keep the ship afloat until Dak can return or for next year. But like I've been saying all year, Andy Dalton does have $1 million incentive to make the playoffs. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but if I'm playing football for $1 million, I'm playing it all on the line. So kudos to Andy Dalton. So let's transition to the hot topic button as well, which is the running game. We did see a resurgence of Ezekiel Elliott. So how do you feel about Ezekiel Elliott? Do you think this was kind of his breakthrough past the slump and that we'll see more of what we saw, or was it just kind of the looks that he was getting defensively by the Eagles?
No, I think it's just one of those things where the game plan they had going into it worked for his favor, and they were executing a little better. The loss of Fletcher Cox was very big when in terms of running the ball. Zeke's going to have those games. If you're able to have a lead or have the game close, and you're able to run the ball and not completely focus on the passing game, he's going to run for 100 yards. He's probably not going to have one of those 35, 40-yard runs like he did on a consistent basis. But he'll get you that 4 yards per carry, 5 yards per carry, kind of around there when the team is actually playing well. So not really overly surprised.
Right. Yeah. And here's what I'll say about Zeke, y'all. Like, if you watch like Marvel and stuff, like, Galactus and people like that, like the more you feed him, the stronger he gets. And I felt like what happened on Sunday is Zeke finally was able to get into a rhythm. And you see those pops, first down, 5 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, first down. When he starts doing that and winding up, it gets him to momentum. Now, I will say this. I believe Zeke did score a touchdown and Mike McCarthy should have challenged it. But hey, like I said, y'all, me and Mike McCarthy have shaken hands. We are cool. We cool. Be cool for now. But I feel like Mike McCarthy, should have definitely challenged that play. But I like what I saw through Ezekiel Elliott. He was more patient. He protected the ball. He's making his cuts. One thing I want to see from Zeke, I want to see him start to go back through people. And I feel like right now he's trying to be the more elusive back because that's what everyone's been wanting from Tony Pollard. He's more elusive. Nah, Zeke, forget that. Run through him, And I feel like once he gets that momentum, that's when Zeke starts to really rev up. And also, we got to understand, y'all, once you're able to establish the run game, it creates an attitude with your offense. It sets a trend. So that's why I was tweeting, break their spirit, Zeke, break their spirit, because at that point in the game where we're able to feed Zeke, and just get those yards, keep the chains moving, run down the clock, it diminishes and demoralizes you as a defense because you're like, damn, man, they just passed for almost 300-something yards. Now they're going to run the ball down our throat. So I felt like that was an opportunity to do so. But I'm satisfied with this game. I felt like this was the first game we saw the Dallas Cowboys clicking on all three cylinders. Actually all four, because I felt like coaching was a lot better this game. Like I said, y'all, I shook Mike McCarthy's hand after the game and said we're cool. And I said the reason why is because when it was 4th and 1, I sat back and thought, here we go. He's going to go for it, and we're going to end up short and still remain down by 4 points. Nope. Mike McCarthy called out Zerline. We kicked the field goal. Now we're down by 1, playing the long game. There's no need to be a hero right now. Play the long game. Trust your defense. Trust your team out in the field. and let's go win this ball game. So after he did that, y'all, me and Mike McCarthy are cool. But speaking of coaching, Nick, so it's this conversation, though. And personally, I didn't think it was really going to happen, but Jerry kind of shut me up today that Kellen Moore might be gone for real. What is your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's a very realistic possibility, and it definitely would not shock me if he decides to go the college route and take the Boise State head coaching job. He has what it takes to be a head coach. I'm not sure if he's necessarily ready to jump right in at the NFL level. I don't think anyone would regret hiring him, though. So it's one of those things where there's still a little bit of a mystery. So yeah, I'm a little worried about it, but I still think we'll be okay even if he does leave.
So let me ask you this: what are you worried about?
As far as what he's able to do as a head coach?
No, I mean, you see a little bit worried. Are you worried about him leaving, or are you just worried about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to have him in the building as long as possible. I think he brings a very different perspective to the game than some of these older coaches that are more established and have done things the same way. I think one of the people who have benefited the most from Kellen Moore is actually Mike McCarthy. I think his biggest issue in Green Bay was his offense got stagnant. And I think it was probably pretty eye-opening to see some of these plays that Kellen Moore was able to introduce to him that the Cowboys have already been running. And then they were able to take the training wheels off and really open up this offense once Jason Garrett left. So right. I think innovation might be something we're lacking. But the thing that gives me hope is hopefully, knock on wood, we have Dak signed long-term. And the guy's been in the system for a long time. So him having one more year, being a vet, being able to take control of his offense at the line of scrimmage makes you a little bit less dependent on the actual call in the huddle. So
exactly.
That's why I'm not overly freaking out about it.
Exactly, y'all. Exactly what Nick said. So I want everyone to be clear on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. I am not like jumping on the table like Kellen Moore needs to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. No, that's not what I was saying the other day. What I was saying is exactly what Nick just said. The offense for me hasn't been a question mark, even from last season going to this season. So I felt like that was the one thing I could depend on. Now, when you take Kellen Moore out of the picture, there could be some question marks of uncertainty. What Mike McCarthy can call plays himself? Is he going to bring in someone else or promote someone up to be the new offensive coordinator when it comes to Dallas? And things could change. I'm more of the mantra of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I feel like that's with the offense. But it seems like Jerry Jones is okay with moving on from Kellen Moore from the way his comments were today. And I feel like Mike McCarthy during his press conference kind of gave some hints that Kellen's already gone. For the most part. So like I said, I'm worried about coming into next year, maybe our defense takes a leap forward, but our offense takes a step back. I really just want to see this offense with Dak Prescott and then our defense taking a step forward, because I believe a lot of teams, y'all, that's what they're wanting right now. They're wanting these young coaches they're innovative with a new, fresh idea. He has a relationship with Dak Prescott already. The offense is familiar. Mm-hmm. I wanted to keep that intact. I really just want to keep everything intact and then just work on this defense. But it sounds like there's going to be some adjustments made offensively, so we shall see. So shouts out to our guy Frankie, man. This question has been another hot topic button. So Michael Gallup had a big game on Sunday. So let me ask you, Nick, are you trying to move on from Michael Gallup after this season?
Not necessarily. I'm not actively trying to shop him. Okay. It's one of those things, if somebody wants to extremely overpay for him, I'll consider it.
Right.
If someone's going to give me a first round pick, pull like an Amari Cooper, yeah, I mean, I might consider it, because there's a very good chance that we're not able to really re-sign him. But it's not something that I'm just trying to give away to get a 5th round pick for, Right. So he's still a very good player. He's still a very cheap player. And he's got good chemistry with Dak. So I'm not going to get rid of that unless I have to, or if someone wants to overpay.
Yeah. Shouts out to my guy Nick's and also Big Game James. So we spoke for like 5 hours about this topic on Sunday night. And I was don't touch Michael Gallup at all. Like, I wanted to see this 3 wide receiver core with Dak Prescott. But then as soon as I got off the show, I thought about it. What if Michael Gallup wants to start negotiating for his contract now, this offseason? that changes a lot, and so it's like, damn, I never think it from the aspect of the agent, the player, Michael Gallup might say, hey, I did this year. Look at these last games I put up. Look at these numbers. I want to start negotiating now because I'm thinking more about next year for Michael Gallup, but that can always be a possibility. So if that's the case, I'm not really sure where Steven and Jerry's head will be when it comes to Michael Gallup, especially when you have the Dak thing looming. So
the one thing I might add to that, though, is this might not be the best time for him to try to negotiate because this hasn't been his best year. He's flashed for sure, but he's definitely missed out on having Dak as the quarterback, especially after last year having 1,000 yards, and now it looks like he's going to come up short. I think he could increase his value by playing one more year with Dak, hopefully be over 1,000, and then he could really cash in. So I'm just not sure if the timing's there. But yeah, you never know what's in the player's head.
Right. So let me get this comment. So Frankie, I see, said, non-tuck, you said Kellen Moore would be crazy to be a head coach in Boise. Please keep it real. Don't walk it back. I'm not walking it back. For me, honestly, I think it's a stupid idea if you want to be an NFL head coach to backtrack and go to Boise State and then try to reemerge yourself and come back to the NFL when you're already the offensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. I felt like if you're Kellen Moore and being an NFL head coach is your main job and your main goal, then if you put up these numbers again with Dak Prescott next year and this offense is still top 5, top 3, NFL teams are going to start calling because like NFL teams like offense. And so I feel like he's closer to being an NFL head coach as an offensive coordinator for Dallas versus reverting back to Boise. Now you have to recruit. What if things don't work out? You're a lot closer. Now, if his overall dream was always to be the head coach of the Boise, but where are they? Bison? Buffalo? The Blue or whatever.
Broncos.
That's it. I should know that. Shout out to all my guys from Boise. If that's his dream job, then absolutely, yeah, you go take the job. But if it's me and I'm thinking I want to be an NFL head coach, I'm staying put with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm putting up another mega season with all these weapons that I have in place, and then next year teams are going to start calling. So that's what I was saying.
I think you're looking at two different timelines based off of what his goal is. If it is to be an NFL coach, NFL head coach. If you go the college route, which I don't think is a bad move for Kellen Moore, but I think it's going to tack on a couple more years before you can make that transition. I think you'd be realistically thinking that he'll be there 4 or 5 years before making a jump to the NFL. You really have to establish your program, basically be an innovative offense, really, really do good things, opposed to if your offense flash maybe even next year, you're probably getting head coaching calls, at least interviews. But I couldn't see him going to college, spending 1 year, and then jumping back to the NFL. That's not realistic.
Right. So let's see here. Y'all Kansas guys making a good team, guys. Salute to our guy, Frankie Man from Twitter. He said being a head coach was his main goal, no specifically NFL or NFL head coach. Yeah, so if you just want to be a head coach, like I said, he wants to go to college and just be a head coach. And be honest with you guys, going to Boise, where you're the captain of your own ship, you played there, it's your alumni. I mean, you're going to have the trail of being the Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator for recruiting. Like, if you really want to do that and be the captain of your own ship, then by all means, you definitely go to Boise. Plus, you're going to get paid more than you're going to get paid as a coordinator. I was just thinking of it, if you wanted to be a head coach of the NFL, you're a lot closer already being in the seat. You're pretty much one seat up under the head coach already. Why would you backtrack? So that's what I was saying. But it sounds like Jerry Jones doesn't give a damn, and he's okay with Kellen Moore leaving, and I feel like it's already going to happen as soon as the season's over. So let me ask you this. If Kellen Moore does leave, what is your thoughts for who's the next offensive coordinator?
I think the easiest transition, since he's already in the building, he's already working closely with your quarterbacks, is going to be just Nussmeier. However, I'm not sure if he's going to have the same role as Kellen Moore. I wouldn't be shocked if Mike McCarthy kind of goes back to his Green Bay days and starts taking on play calling again, or maybe being more of a collaborative effort between the two. But I think Nussmeier will probably hold the title of OC. I don't see it being really an outside hire. Right.
Josh asked a good question because we talked about this earlier. Does Kellen Moore leaving affect Dak coming back? So do you think that was a link? I thought about it, but I was like, nah, because Dak is a pro. Like, I feel like whoever the coach is, he'll be able to work with. I felt like Jerry Jones last year wanted to keep Kellen because that was the connection between him and Dak, and he wanted to make things simplified for him. But I feel like at this point of Dak's career, whoever you make the offensive coordinator, whoever's calling the plays, whoever his quarterback coach is, Dak will be fine. So I'm not concerned. I just hope we just take care of business when it comes to Dak Prescott.
Yep. And if Kellen maybe went to a different NFL team, maybe I still don't think it would really have an impact, but you never know. People have friends, you know, they want to follow each other and they worked really well together. So you never know.
Right. So speaking of
but
coaches,
he can't go to Boise State.
Can't go Boise. Yeah, can't go back to Boise. So, yeah, he might, you might pull Van Der Esch back to be a coach, and like all those Boise State guys. I mean, because we are pretty much the Boise State Cowboys.
Yeah.
So Mike Nolan. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, though. If the defense is able to continue this trend that they've been on these past few games, let's say, for instance, we go to a playoff game and we win one. We beat Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, and the defense gets 2 turnovers in that game and holds Tom Brady to 17 points. Do you think there's an opportunity for Mike Nolan to save his job, or is it pretty much just cut and dry? We're going to move on in the offseason.
They would have to really impress and be a very solid reason why we're winning for him to save his job. Personally, I don't really care if he stays or goes. My focus is on improving the personnel.
Okay.
I think if you keep everything the same, you continue to not invest in the D tackle position. You continue to not invest in the safety position. Whoever you bring in is probably going to have almost equally the same amount of struggles.
Right.
Maybe a little bit better because he's a better coordinator, but you're still not going to be a good defense. You're still not going to be a good enough defense to be the type of team that you want to be. So if I were betting, I'd say he's still gone. And I would assume that George Edwards would take over.
Okay.
But I really don't know.
Yeah. And like we've been saying, I don't think Mike Nolan will get fired. I think he's going to move to another position within the Dallas Cowboys just because of his connection with Mike McCarthy. I think he might get. I think him and George Edwards might actually just switch. So like maybe George Edwards will be the defensive coordinator, and then Mike Nolan would be. I don't know. They'll make up some title, some fancy name, defensive consultant, specialist, assistant, whatever, to keep him in house. I just don't see Mike McCarthy at this point just saying, you know what, we're moving on from you, period. Good luck. I think they'll find something in-house for him, whether it's a linebacker coach, something.
And that wouldn't be the first time they did that, because they did that with Monty Kiffin, right? With Rod Marinelli, and then they did that kind of with Rod Marinelli and Chris Richard. So that's actually, I didn't even think of that. That's a very good point. I assumed
I can
walk
see
off into the sunset and
I mean, I was like, dude, goodbye, best of luck. But I don't think Mike McCarthy and especially Jerry Jones will do that to him. Especially if this defense continues to trend upward a little bit, they'll want to keep him in house just to kind of save face, because Jerry doesn't like admitting he made a mistake, and I feel like that would be admitting that he made a mistake, letting Mike McCarthy sign Mike Nolan. So, last question, Andy Dalton. So as you mentioned, Andy Dalton's been playing solid the last 3 weeks. I think I saw someone post in the chat that he's had the highest quarterback rating for the past month. Do you think we bring Andy Dalton back as a backup next year, or do you think he's going to want to just spread his wings and see if he can get a starter job? And do you think he get a starting job anywhere? I don't see it, but
you never know. I also didn't think that Fitzpatrick would have as many starting jobs as he's had, but he's been able to always find one. Same thing with Tyrod Taylor.
Salute to Fitzpatrick's agent, man. That guy's amazing.
You never know. I don't think that he will be back. I think I tweeted this yesterday also, but there's one thing that Stephen Jones almost loves as much as cap space is comp picks. So I think he's already greedy about finding that comp pick for Andy Dalton to sign either a pretty good contract as a backup or one of those fringe contracts where, hey, you're going to come in and compete with a young guy. You might be the bridge to whoever we drafted. But we know you can start at least the first 4 to 6 games. I kind of lean towards them probably signing like a Gilbert to be the backup. I'm just not confident in them bringing Dalton back.
I think we could just roll with Garrett Gilbert, man, sign Dak Prescott, because here's what I say. When it comes to this team, y'all, in the offseason, we know how they like to penny pinch, and I just don't see them paying Andy Dalton another high premium to bring him back, knowing that they're going to give this money to Dak Prescott. Now, if something goes crazy with Dak Prescott, then maybe Andy Dalton would be the answer, but I still don't see it. I feel like they let Andy Dalton, gauge the market, and maybe if Andy Dalton finds out, hey, there's nobody that really wants me, he might come back, but it's gonna have to be for a value price. I just don't see it. So like I said, some of you Dak haters, I don't really got that many on my show, Nick. That's the one thing to get on my show, but I know they're out there. I just don't see Andy Dalton being the future Dallas Cowboys or whatnot. I just don't see that as an option. I would say, yeah, probably just Garrett Gilbert, work with him. Because cause a lot of people, here's the thing. And I said this to my guy, shouts out to my guy, Cowboys Fan Talk. A lot of people are like, yeah, Andy Dalton, he's the future. We should go with Andy Dalton. We can move on from Dak Prescott. I was like, well, I remember after the Steelers game, you guys wanted Garrett Gilbert and didn't even want Andy Dalton to come back off of concussion protocol and COVID. So which is it? But we know how Cowboys fans work. 1 minute they're here, 1 minute they're there. They're just all over the place. But I feel like Garrett Gilbert would be a solid backup from what we've seen. Yeah. Give him a full offseason and training camp with the Cowboys, and we should be suitable there. Good question, Robert. So I'm not going to go off the limb that much, but I'm going to ask Nick, though. Does Andy Dalton get his first playoff win with the Dallas Cowboys?
Whew, that's a tough sell.
Yeah.
For one, we have to make the playoffs, which that should be interesting. I don't know if I could be that confident. But if I know anything about the 2020 season, man, there's a lot of uncertainty.
Right.
There's not a single NFC team that I'm like really, really backing. Even the Packers have had some flops. Right. So you never know. You never know.
You never know.
Especially with our defense causing turnovers like they have. If you can get that pass rush, continue to have Randy Gregory playing out of his mind, DeMarcus Lawrence taking on 3 blockers every snap, you could luck into a win.
Right.
But it's hard for me to really see it.
Yeah. Like I said, 1 week at a time. Right now, our main focus is beating the Giants this week, y'all, which we're going to talk about. So Saturday, we're going to have my guy, Kid Blue's going to come on. We're going to talk Giants versus Cowboys. So definitely tune in for that. But right now, the real focus is just beating the Giants and letting the chips fall. Now, when it comes to the Eagles, I don't know how much I want to, support them, because I don't know if they're going to really have our back. Now, according to Jim Schwartz, he says there won't be no hats on our field or whatnot. So I feel like the Eagles are going to compete. I don't feel like they're going to lay down and,
I think they kind of have
players.
to too.
Right. So I feel like they're going to compete. So I feel like, right now when it comes to the Washington football team, there's still uncertainty because they got rid of Haskins, who's going to be the quarterback moving forward. I haven't seen if Alex Smith is really going to give it a go. So the opportunity is there. But first and foremost, y'all, we have to win ball games. And this is one of the things I've been preaching on this channel for so long, Nick. Just win, and you never know what can happen. You never know. And I always said, when you think about the Dallas Cowboys, and I think about the Dallas Cowboys finally getting back to a Super Bowl, right? I never thought it was going to be one of those seasons where it's like we're the Kansas City Chiefs and we're just dominating everybody and we're just going to run through everybody. I always felt it's going to be one of these quirky, weird seasons that's kind of up and down, and all of a sudden we're looking up like, holy crap, we're in the NFC Championship game. So, I kind of felt like that. There have been so many people that's been off the Dallas Cowboys this season, then they were back for a little bit, and then it's like, oh no, that they, so it's been up and down, and maybe, just maybe, 2020 has already been crazy enough, y'all, that this is the season when the Dallas Cowboys can find some momentum and ride this wave. But like I said, one game at a time. But I said, with the most important thing for this season, especially this past game against the 49ers and also versus Philly, like, it was a playoff type environment for these young guys, for Diggs, for CeeDee Lamb.
Yep.
If you lose, your season's over. So I say our playoffs have started 2 weeks ago, for Neville Gallimore and these young guys, like, get these reps, get this environment, know what it's like to play with all this amount of pressure at home, on the road, and that's something we can build off of for next year going into 2021. So let me get this from you, Nick. When you think about this past season, 2020, what is your thoughts on Mike McCarthy?
I think it's hard to get a really good judge of what he is as a coach based off of the circumstances and what he's had to work with. I have been impressed with the team as a whole. Once you get past the first couple weeks where it was kind of a shit show, they were trying to install offenses still. They're trying to install defenses. They were trying to shuffle in and out offensive linemen, a mountain of injuries. With that said, I think they've done a fairly good job. Right. Do I think Mike McCarthy is going to be the next Belichick? No.
Right.
Was he the best option? Potentially. I'm not sure any other coaches that were really available could have done a much better job.
Right.
I don't know. He didn't get dealt a full deck of cards, and you can see it. But the fact that we potentially could have 7 wins this year,
Right.
with how much we lost, I would say it's kind of impressive based off of what we've seen over the past 10 years when we lose one significant player, let alone 8, 10 starters. Right. So don't have a great read. I think next year will be very defining. When you lose your quarterback, it's really hard to really do a ton.
Right.
So.
Right. And like I said, I have to give credit where credit's due. I will say the one thing about this team, they have continued to fight. And that was one of my biggest things for y'all with Mike McCarthy. I know a lot of people are saying, Tuck, are you a fan of Mike McCarthy? I'm not a fan. I said we're cool. You never been cool with somebody? Like, I'm cool with you, but I don't want you around my house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I live. Like, you know, you're cool, bro. Like, I'll meet you out somewhere, but you're not coming to my house. Like, I don't know you like that. So that's where me and Mike McCarthy stand. But like I said, my frustration with Mike McCarthy was just amounting the little things I was seeing throughout the season, from the coaching staff hires to the decision making to the personnel. I mean, we were beating on the table for weeks. You know, Terrence Steele isn't the answer. He kept running Terrence Steele out there. Then versus Seattle, he finally kicks Zach Martin out the right tackle, and it works. And the next game, Terrence Steele's back. So it's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And I feel like, and then, you know, we finally made the move to bench Terrence Steele and put Zach Martin back at right tackle. It's like, well, why wasn't he, you know, the decision making is where I've been very critical of. And then also, you think about the guys that were released. It was Darryl Worley. It was Dontari Poe, Everson Griffin. These weren't Garrett guys. These are McCarthy's guys that you guys brought in that didn't work out. And so, you know, when you had like the possible mole that I think was probably one of those 3, like, well, those were your guys. And so it's just like, you know, office space. What is it that you say you do if you're not calling the offense? You know, like that's what I couldn't figure out from Mike McCarthy. But I feel like, you know, whatever he's putting in those watermelons and smashing is working, and the team rallies around him. Maybe the team earlier on didn't quit on Mike McCarthy. They quit on Mike Nolan. So shouts out to my guy Skywalker. That's what he was trying to explain to me. But I feel like Mike McCarthy's still responsible for the defense. You're not the defensive coordinator, but you're still responsible.
Yeah,
so you have to
for the team.
Right. You have to grab Mike Nolan and be like, hey, bro, what's going on here? Like, all right, this is your thing, but it's not working out. Why are we giving up 300 rushing yards a game? Yeah. I need you to fix it, you know, because that's going to be on me. But that's what my biggest frustration with Mike McCarthy. So hopefully he can get it around. But like you said, being able to pull 7 wins and possibly a playoff appearance out of all the turmoil that we've been through this season, that's definitely kudos to Mike McCarthy, and I'm not going to take that away from him. But there's still a lot to remain seen. If we come out next year and we're 6-win team with Dak Prescott and fully healthy, it's going to be a lot different. A lot of problems. Yeah, a lot of problems. I think Jerry won't be too happy. So let's get into this Giants game. So we play the New York Giants on Sunday. Win, and we're halfway in. We're not in. We're halfway in. We got one foot in the door. So what is your thoughts for this game versus Joe Judge? Jason Garrett isn't the head coach of the New York Giants. It's Joe Judge, and Jason Garrett's the offensive coordinator. What is your thoughts going into this game?
I'm like weirdly confident in this game. I do think their defense is one of the better defense we've played in the last couple of weeks. But man, we're clicking on all cylinders right now.
Right.
Our offensive line has stepped up. Still not great, but stepped up enough. Our receivers, man, they're just making guys look like fools out there.
Right.
So if Andy Dalton doesn't just shit the bed, I think we should be able to handle them very well. I have no fear in the Giants offense.
Right.
We just can't shoot ourselves in the foot. So
Yep.
Weirdly confident. Probably shouldn't be this confident because they always let me down. But
I know a lot of Cowboys fans like, oh man, we gotta after we beat the Giants, I'm like, let's pump the brakes. You guys haven't had this type of mindset the past 3 weeks, and so let's just pump the brakes. But like you said, I feel like, you know, this offense, they're clicking on all cylinders, and that's what I've been saying to everybody. The reason why I was so optimistic still about this season, because you think about it, we still have a lot of talent that remains on this team. So all Andy Dalton really has to do is just get the ball to CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and feed Zeke and Tony Pollard. It's really a simple concept, and if the offensive line can step up, and they have stepped up recently, playing a lot better, then I feel like we can get some momentum, and the defense can just meet us halfway. Not be a top 5 defense, not be a top 10, be a top 15, hell, a top 20. Yeah, I'll take top 20. If you can just meet us halfway, then I felt like we could turn this thing around and beat a few teams, and we're starting to see that. I feel like our defense confidence is starting to increase. Offense confidence is starting to increase, especially with the play calling. And here's what I say: going to playoff football, what's the most important thing you can take? Defense and the run game. And so let's say, for instance, Ezekiel Elliott, that was his breakthrough game. And now next week we see Zeke go for 125 and 2 touchdowns. Like, that could be so detrimental to this team pushing us to the next level. Because if we get that beast like fully back, because I feel like you saw it. You saw it versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Zeke's confidence was starting to build. Like, okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I actually saw this a couple times.
Yeah. All right.
Nice.
I do know how to do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am one of the best running backs in the NFL. Who the hell is they talking about? And I started to see that. And I was like, when things can really get scary. Because if we're able to establish that run game with these 3 wide receivers and Dalton Schultz and Blake Bell and whatnot, Andy Dalton has a plethora of weapons that he can use to his discretion as long as he makes the right decision. Now, we all knew Andy Dalton was going to make a few boneheaded plays. I knew it was coming when he threw that pick. But, fortunately, it wasn't that costly. So I feel like the Dallas Cowboys can go to New York, win this game, and then we're going to have to sit back on Sunday night, y'all, and, I don't know, put on an Eagles jersey, fly Eagles fly. I don't know what to do, man. But it's like, here's the thing. Every time I pull for another team, they let me down. I hate the Patriots, but that Super Bowl when they played the Eagles, I was the biggest Patriots fan. And I'm just like, bro, Tom Brady is really about to lose to Nick Foles in the Super Bowl. That's what we get. That's what we get, man. So let's hop in the chat, man. You got some time for a few questions?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Okay, so shouts out to our guy Frank. He's gonna hit us on Twitter. Mo, the glass is half full with him lately. Yeah, it's a little bit better. It's filling up a little bit with Mike McCarthy, man, but we'll get there. 2 matchups I'm worried about from Josh Parker. Our O-line versus their D-line, and Coop versus Bradbury. Last time we played them, Bradbury locked down Coop. Yeah, he did, but that's one of the benefits of having 2 more beasts back there. Is like, go ahead and lock up Coop, and then CD will eat. So I feel like, and that's why I've been beating on the table to keep Gallup, Lamb, and Cooper, because it creates so many matchup problems.
Options.
Yeah, it's just so many options. Like I said, we live here in Kansas City. We see what a quarterback can do with just so many different weapons. Like, when you play the Chiefs, you might think it's going to be Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce, but then it's Robinson, or then it's Sammy Watkins, and then it's, Clyde Edwards, and then it's Le'Veon Bell. You're just like, God dang. And as soon as you get that under attack, there goes Tyreek Hill. And you're just like, I can't deal with this. It's just too much. So, like, keep all the weapons that we had and hit them with the full arsenal. So
I will say at the beginning of his question, though, the offensive line against their defensive line, that is a concern. Their D tackles against our interior O-line, that could create some problems.
Right, yeah.
Don't want to overlook that.
And that's the most critical piece of the O-line, because Andy Dalton doesn't have a clean pocket to step up into. He gets shaky and gets nervous. Now, Andy Dalton has been performing well outside the pocket, which really isn't his game. But, yeah, if that interior is caving in on Andy Dalton, man, because Andy Dalton, I don't know why, and he's still this late in his career, he's still like a one-read quarterback. He stares down his target so damn hard and doesn't look to the second option, because that CeeDee Lamb, that when Darius Slade jumped it, he looked at CeeDee Lamb the entire play. I'm just like, all right, man, you're not even going to, give him a look off or anything. But that's just one of the things. So this other question, can we make a run like the 2007 Giants? I don't know, because their defense was a lot different than ours, and that's the thing, man. Like, if let's say, for instance, now our defense was getting turnovers, and we're holding teams to 50 yards rushing, and shutting things down and getting 3 to 4. Like, I feel like if we were to take that type of leap, then maybe so. But like, even this Sunday against the Eagles, our defense wasn't that amazing. You can think about the first 2 drives. We came out and really just got gashed. They ran the ball down the throws, Miles Sanders touchdown, and then boom, Deshaun Jackson. So some of these issues that's been there since week 1 is still there. It's just not as many. I feel like we were able to adjust, and that's the key thing. So I'm going to pump my brakes on a 2007 Giants run. But like I said, it's really not about the playoffs. It's not about the Super Bowl. It's just gaining confidence and gaining momentum and having something to build off of this offseason when it comes to this team. Let's see. If Kellen Moore leaves and no one gets fired, what are your dream OC in DC? I'll let you take that one, Nick.
Dream? Honestly, I don't have a good answer for that. Mainly because I am 90% sure they'll just hire within.
Right.
That's just their go-to move. And I'm okay with that. A lot of the names that I've heard people say, I don't think they're going to make a lateral move necessarily and take an OC job in Dallas just to be in Dallas.
Right.
So if they do hire, it's probably a guy that's not even on my radar, and we'll all be probably scratching our heads saying like, "Who the heck is this guy?"
Right.
It'll be some QB coach or wide receiver coach or something like that a lot of us haven't heard of. So I don't have a good answer for you, unfortunately, but
yeah, I agree. I mean, the one person that I would say for defensive coordinator would be the guy that the Gallup boys actually interviewed probably for a hot second, which will be Marvin Lewis. I would probably like to have Marvin Lewis as a defensive coordinator, but I doubt that's going to happen, man. That's just, I really don't know the connection between him and Mike McCarthy. I understand, guys. The NFL is a buddy league, man. It's like, that's not really God. Like, it's just easy to put on my homeboy. I know him. Hey, me and Mike Nolan were cool. We play, I'm bringing my guy in versus I really don't know him like that. I don't trust him because if things fall through the cracks, it's going to follow Mike McCarthy for bringing in Marvin Lewis. Yeah. So it's really just easier to bring in one of your guys, and it's kind of easier to follow him sword for. So Chris Richard to come back as a defensive coordinator. Y'all, I don't think Chris Richard comes back as a defensive coordinator, and I also don't think Wade Phillips comes back as a defensive coordinator because it's a fact in life. When you burn bridges, it's hard to mend them. And I feel like last year, and if you watched like James Slater's interview with Chris Richard, I felt like, Chris Richard's energy and, all the rah-rah and hoop, like Jerry Jones really didn't like that. So I feel like he was one of the scapegoats last year, and I feel like he really got outs last year when he got let go. So I don't think Chris Richard would come back to the Cowboys unless it's just really those desperate situations where he's sitting there like, damn, man, nobody's offering me anything, so I might as well go back. But I just don't see Chris Richard. I would see. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't even think he'd want to come back.
Yeah,
either,
I don't think he want to go. Like, you guys gotta think about it. If somebody fired you, your job fired you and replaced you, and all of a sudden they got a guy who couldn't do the job like you used to, would you want to go back to them? They call you back like, hey, Tuck, my bad, we fired you, but the guy we hired for your spot, he really sucks. So do you want to come back? Like, no, I don't want to come back. Like, I don't want to work for you. So yeah, I don't see that happening. Maybe Wade, that's more of a water under the bridge type situation with the Cowboys, and he would be open to coming back. But like I said, y'all, Wade Phillips blocked a lot of you Cowboys fans on Twitter, so he might be already done with y'all before he got started. So I don't think Wade would come back. But like I said, I think Marvin Lewis would be one of my highest defensive coordinator. Offensive side of the ball, I really don't know. If it was me, I'm throwing Kellen Moore some extra bonuses or whatnot to keep him, and we're gonna roll like that. But I don't think that's gonna be the case. Let's see if they call me back and I'm getting a raise. Yeah, it's gonna have to be a hefty raise though. Names to watch out: Tom Clements, longtime assistant for Mike McCarthy in Green Bay. He's now the passing game coordinator for the Cardinals. Yeah, it's good.
That's a very interesting name then.
Yeah. So it would be something like that. Someone who worked with Mike McCarthy, who he's familiar with and that he trusts to bring in with his offense. Because here's the thing, y'all. Like I've been saying, if Mike McCarthy, because he kind of burnt the side dishes, right, which I'm saying with the defense, if he comes in and he burns the main dish, the turkey, the offense, and this offense takes a drastic step back, that's going to be some explaining to do. Like if he implements his West Coast offense, and all of a sudden Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott and CeeDee Lamb can't move the ball, they're only getting about 20 points a game or whatnot, a lot of people are going to be saying, what the hell? Why'd you let Kellen Moore go? Because the offensive coordinator is always the scapegoat from Cowboys fans. Like in which I don't understand the Kellen Moore hate, because Kellen Moore's done his job. But I feel like people just hated Kellen Moore because he was tied to Jason Garrett. That was kind of like this thing, like, he needs to be gone. Kellen Moore sucks. He's horrible. But I was like, we complained about Scott Linehan. We brought in this young kid. He added creativity, innovation. The offense excelled under him.
Scoring more points, getting more yards. Like, what else do you guys want?
He's passing more down the field throws. It's like, what do you guys want? Cowboys fans like, nah, I don't like him either, man. He looks like.
Yeah, I think a lot of times they have unrealistic expectations where if he calls a bad play, or even if the players just don't execute and the play doesn't work, that's on the OC.
Right.
If you punt, that's on the OC. I'm like, no, not really. It's a part of the game. No one calls a perfect game. Even the best, even Eric Bieniemy and KC will call a bad play that doesn't work and puts you in a bad spot.
Right. Did you guys not see that fourth down throw to Patrick Mahomes down the field and Patrick Mahomes almost got his head knocked off? Like, what are you doing? That's a stupid call. Like, one, it's a stupid call, but two, not with your franchise quarterback when you already had the playoffs sealed up. He is not running down the field catching no passes. So I feel like offensive coordinators, I mean, they like to be innovative and creative. They get in front of themselves. Like, they have to just be cute, like just running a simple dive play. That's too boring. Now I need to run a jet sweep or reverse, or they get ahead of themselves. So I feel like that's where they are. But I don't think Kellen Moore was the issue when it comes to the Cowboys. Great question from Josh Parker. Biggest hole on this team heading into the offseason. Let me give you three things, Nick. If you have to fix the Dallas Cowboys moving to 2021, what's the first three things you do?
First thing I do is I sign a stud one tech in free agency. And I'm not talking about an old guy that had a big name that was once a Pro Bowler.
Right.
I'm talking about actually investing a good amount of money, a multi-year contract on a guy that I know that can clog a hole and bring some penetration. Doesn't have to be an elite pass rusher.
Okay.
Not saying you have to break the bank as far as be the top paid guy at his position,
right,
but a nice hefty contract that, hey, we're committed to you. You are one tech and you can do the job. That would be number one. Number two, I do a similar approach, maybe not even invest as much money, but I need a vet safety that can at least command a defense to help out our young secondary.
Right.
And then in the draft defense. That'd be what I do.
Yep, he's right on the same track. The one thing I would change is the first thing you got to do is sign Dak Prescott. That's the first and foremost thing. Yeah. So sign Dak Prescott, like I've been saying, not franchise tag him and drag it all the way out to the summer. No, soon as he's available to be signed, you sign him. That way you can use the money the opening weeks in free agency and not piddle around and wait till day 4 and like you said, get these low bargain guys. So here's my plan, and we're going to talk about this all offseason, Cowboys fan, but we talked about it for 5 hours because they made me do it. But sign Dak Prescott early, right? I go out, secure a safety, as you mentioned, so like a Justin Simmons or whatnot, to bring him in to add that veteran leadership with their secondary and safety. Then I hop on the phone, I call the New York Jets, and I say, do you guys want this number 9, number 5, 15, 12 pick that I have for Quentin Williams? I mean, you guys are trying to get rid of him. And I try to trade out that pick right there and bring in Quentin Williams. Or I find another one tech that's out there. Now, I know a lot of people right now are saying, Snacks Harrison.
He just got released.
Yeah, he just got released. So maybe, that's low budget. That's what Stephen Jones liked. But, I would like to really solidify that interior. It's been so long. We just haven't had that one tech for so long, and our team has struggled with run defense for so long as well, man. So I would like to get a quality guy to solidify up front. And like I said, if we're able to trade out that pick and get a Quentin Williams or just a guy who has some upside at that one tech position, that's perfectly fine. And then you can draft cornerbacks and other linebackers in the draft, second and third round. Trust Will McClay, and then we can get right back to business. So that would be my plan. But we're going to dive into deep all that. I said I'm not doing no draft talk on this channel until the season is officially over. So
I like it.
Yeah. So let me ask you one last question, man, before I let you go.
Okay.
Right? If you had to decide to trade Michael Gallup for, let's say, a Quentin Williams of the Jets, someone's going to secure up that interior, would you make that choice?
Just straight up?
Straight up. Let's say Michael Gallup in a third. Michael Gallup in third?
Ooh, in a third. I'm really tempted to do that. If it's Michael Gallup straight up for Quentin Williams, I do that in a heartbeat.
Okay.
With a third tacked onto that, I might still do it, but I'm not going to love it as much.
So what's your reasoning behind it? Let me ask you that.
I don't think you're going to be able to find an impact player like Quentin Williams in the draft. And I think you can find a very good player in, say, the second round at a wide receiver if you really want to take one.
Yeah.
So I think they're a little easier to find. And I don't think you have that type of dominant player anywhere close to the top half of the draft.
Right.
At D tackle. So straight up, I do it. They both are towards the end of their contracts. So I think that's a no-brainer to me.
Right.
But man, it sucks kind of losing a receiver that I really
I
like. So
know.
I like the guy more than anything too. He just seems like a really good player.
Right.
I think I do that. So
Yeah. I know that was the big conflict that me and Big Game
yeah.
James had the other night, man. But it's hard. Like you got this toy in Michael Gallup, and I love this toy, but it's a need when it comes to Quentin Williams. It's like I don't want to give this up. I want to give something else up to keep this. But if I had to do it, man, I still don't know. Like I said, I really want to see this 3 wide receiver core: Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard with Dak Prescott. Like I really want to see what this all looks like because I feel like coming into the season, I would put our offense against Kansas City. That's where I stood with this. After we drafted CeeDee Lamb, I feel like, okay, I would put our offense compared to Kansas City. We're 1A and 1B if you want it. You want to debate which one, okay, that's perfectly fine. So I wanted to see, and we saw glimpses of it, like how quick Dak Prescott was able to strike back and come back in a lot of these games with all these weapons. Now, think about it. You take away the turnovers and all the critical mistakes, and we're really front running out there. I really want to see that. So it's hard for me to give up Michael Gallup, but we do need some help on defense.
I will say, going back to your scenario, though, more importantly, I don't think Jerry Jones does that trade.
Oh, no. Jerry Jones loves too much offense.
He loves too much offense. And a lot of people say that he doesn't care about his players, but I think at times he cares about his players too much to where he's making decisions because he knows that the fans love Michael Gallup.
Right.
And it's a flashy position on top of that.
Right.
So I could see him having a hard time letting Michael Gallup walk to somebody, unless, again, someone's giving you a crazy deal that you literally cannot refuse.
Right. Here's what I think. I agree. I think Jerry Jones, when he brought in CeeDee Lamb, is under the mindset that he's going to have all 3 of these receivers. I think that's what he's under the mindset for, and he's going to want to keep that. So, like, I don't see him letting Michael Gallup walk. Like I said, the only worry about Michael Gallup, y'all, is if the agent starts to get greedy this offseason, and then sometimes it's really out of our control. If our agent's like, no, Michael Gallup did this and did this and did this, we want to sign now, holdouts and all that crazy crap, then I feel like it can get ugly where they're like, all right, we got to move on from him. But if Michael Gallup's like, no, he said, and typically when players say, I want to be a so-and-so for life for the rest of my career, that kind of gives me it's a little,
as long as the paycheck matches.
Yeah, I want to be a Cowboy for life as long as they're paying me like a number 1 wide receiver. That's pretty much what they're saying. Like, give me the fine print of it. It says Snacks became available. Do you sign him to help our interior line? Seemed like we really wanted to sign him in Dallas earlier. Do you bring in Snacks, Harrison?
So he wouldn't be able to help us this week. So it would only be able to help us if you make the playoffs.
Right.
I'm trying to think what the COVID rules are, but if he's been on the street this week, like, would he even be able to play really that first playoff game? Like, in the system that we run and know everything? Like, I'm just not sure. It might be a little too late for that.
Right. I know he probably could practice squad him, but yeah, with the COVID protocols and all that stuff, man, I don't see it happening. I feel like if they wanted Snacks Harrison, they would have signed him when he was originally available.
But it also makes me wonder, why did Seattle walk away from Snacks? Like, they don't have a good defense. They're right there with us.
According to a lot of my guys in Seattle, shout out to my guy Norbs, I guess is because he came out of shape and he just wasn't prepared to play. And I was like, well, if he's out of shape in Seattle, he's damn sure going to be out of safe in Dallas.
Yeah, nothing changes.
Yeah, so I tell Cowboys fans, man, we got to stop eating everyone's leftovers. Like, sometimes you have to look at someone else's trash and be like, all right, why is this TV sitting outside on the curb? Like, oh, we'll take it. Like, Cowboys fans are so much Craigslist shoppers. Like, I'll take it. Like, ask what's wrong with it first before you want to go out and buy it. And I feel like the Cowboys would be like, no. So,
and it's one of the reasons why I shy away from wanting to, like, sign vet players that kind of have one foot out the door and are thinking about retiring. Like, Snacks wasn't 100% convinced he wanted to play this year.
Right.
So if that's the case, like, how hard was he working to really have an impact this year?
Right, and especially during lockdown and COVID and all that stuff. Yeah. Now, a lot of these guys were not put in the work because here's what I'll say. A lot of athletes, even professional athletes, but even at the college level, high school, they need structure. And when you don't have that structure, it's really just on you to make sure I'm getting up, doing what I have to do, taking care of my body, eating right. We saw what happened with Lyle Collins. There were so many players out there that really didn't take care of themselves. And I feel like that's the reason we've seen so many injuries across the league. Like, it's hard because a lot of players were sitting back, man, we're in a pandemic. We're not going to have a season. I'm going out. I'm gonna hang out. I'm not working out. Or you're doing your workouts half-assed or whatnot. So only like the players who are really committed were out there really grinding and really pushing, and you kind of see that. But with Snacks Harrison, yeah, if he's out of shape in Seattle, y'all, he's not gonna be in shape in Dallas. So, let's see. Shout out to my guy Wink. Let's see here. A few more questions. Let's see here. Gallup is a forgotten receiver, kind of a dark horse. I don't think he's the dark horse. I just think, these wide receivers, they have so many different personalities, and it's kind of different. I think Amari Cooper's quiet, but Gallup is really, really quiet. Like I rarely hear Gallup even speaking in interviews or what. It's like a lot of these wide receivers that we have, they don't have just vibrant personalities. And so they really don't stand out until you're getting cooked for 135 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, who the heck is that, man? So
and I just think that when you're playing with backup quarterbacks too, certain wide receivers' skill sets translate better to different styles of quarterbacks.
Right.
Amari Cooper, he's a Swiss Army knife. He can play whatever you need him to play.
Right.
And he can run routes to get open, and that's going to be a backup quarterback's best friend.
Right.
I think CeeDee Lamb has the ability to be that as well.
Right.
Gallup, he's a little bit more of a niche type player.
Right.
The way they've used him, he's been their deep threat. He's a go up and get it guy. A lot of quarterbacks that are not starting guys, they're not comfortable making those throws. So you're just not seeing those targets. So it's kind of tough.
Right. There they are. Philly the podcast. What's up, my guy? Them boys are still garbage juice, bro. Salute to y'all, but keep up the amazing content. I appreciate it, man. Like I said, I wanted to see Jim Schwartz, man. I didn't see Philly. I didn't see all these Eagles fans. I didn't see no birds in my chat this morning, man. And I've been kind of upset, but here they are, man. Shout out to my guys, man. I follow the good Eagles content creators, man. I don't follow the garbage one, but my guy's a good guy, man. He still ran from me, man. They didn't turn my messages on Sunday. The Dame Midges could be playing for division, but instead will be playing for 3rd overall. We get the dub, yeah. Hopefully, man, Cowboys get the win, because the worst thing can happen, or second worst thing for letting the Eagles end our season, is letting Jason Garrett end our season. So Jerry Jones does not want to see Jason Garrett out there smiling and high-fiving and laughing and yucking it up after he beats us and ends our season. So I think this team will come in ready to play. I think the Cowboys will take the win. Now we just have to really remain on Philly, man, and hopefully they hold us down, man. So Nick, man, I appreciate you coming on, my guy. Tell everybody where they can find you at.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Nick_Herrera34. So.
Yeah, man, great follow, man. Like I said, check out my guy out, man. Like I said, and Saturday we will be having my guy Kid Blue coming on for the Giants. We're definitely going to break down the matchup, go in depth, and he says it's going to be interesting in Kansas City next year. So here's the thing. I've been talking about this in the first season for next year, right? And so next year in Kansas City, I'm in Kansas City. So I say when the Cowboys do play the Chiefs here, we are going to throw a mega tailgate party, Cowboys fans.
Hell yeah.
So everyone wants to come down, man. I'm already thinking about it because I know a lot of Chiefs fans, and they always invite me out there, and I'm always by myself, start up and everything. So when you guys come down for the Chiefs and Cowboys, man, we are going to do it mega, man, for sure, man. It's crazy because I'm already looking for 2021 season, but it's like, let's just settle down, finish this last game, let's enjoy it, because that winter break, that break for January for us pretty much all the way till September until we get football. It's a long drought, man. So enjoy these last few games that we have. But hopefully the Dallas Cowboys can continue the momentum. So for you guys tuning in, comment, like, subscribe. Cowboys fans only on YouTube. Also follow me on Twitter at JTuck151. Also go to cowboysfansonly.com to get your CFO merch, man. Like I said, I'll see you guys back on Saturday with Kid Blue, man. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged. And if I don't talk to you again, have a happy new year. In 2021, we're going to keep this thing on rolling. Let's go, Cowboys.